Hi everyone. Uh, okay, I realize now wearing the shirt in this video is a little ironic given the artist I'm talking about, but yeah, let's carry on. But anyway, yeah, today I'm trying to put you on to Eminem's real first album, Infinite. Now, yeah, this album sounds very different from the Eminem that we all know. Like, it was released before Eminem's Slim Shady era, and he doesn't even talk about the messed up, edgy stuff he talks about in a lot of his albums on this one. He doesn't talk about, murdering his wife, or dissing gay people, or doing drugs, or wanting to sleep with Jennifer Lopez, even if she was his own mother, which is honestly one of the wildest things I've ever heard anyone say. He actually talks about some really positive things actually on this album. Things like, believe in yourself, you can do it, everything's gonna get better in the end, be all that you can be. He actually says that, on one of the songs on the album. I'm not exaggerating at all. He barely swears on this album too, actually. Like, yeah, this is an Eminem album where he barely swears. He swears in like 4 or 5 songs, and that's like less than half the number of songs on the album. And as I'm sure many of you guys know, and on top of that, I'm pretty sure you figured, given the fact that you might not have actually heard of this Eminem album, you might think Slim Shady LP was his first album. But actually, Eminem was actually quite suicidal after the commercial failure of this album. It only sold like 1,000 copies in its first week, and I really don't get why this album wasn't well received. I mean, I guess that after Vanilla Ice and Marky Mark, a white rapper was a pretty hard sell to the rap community back in the 90s, but they honestly couldn't say no to a white rapper that was backed by Dr. Dre. The only criticism that I personally can level at this album is that I guess it sounds very, very generic to the 90s. And Eminem, he was going for a radio-friendly, sort of mainstream sound with this album. And like, he actually kind of sounds like AZ on this album, on a lot of the songs. And like, other rap albums of the time did go out of their way to try and sound unique. Like a Tribe Called Quest, Low in Theory, where they tapped into classic jazz post-production, which wasn't done at the time actually. Or Wu-Tang Clan's 36 Chambers, which uses a lot of kung fu movie samples and has a lot of heavy martial art themes in the album. But honestly, a 90s album sounding like a 90s album really isn't the worst thing that you can say about an album. I mean, even though it does sound very 90s, I mean, it still sounded great. I mean, just even from the first track, like, it opens with honestly one of the best beats Eminem's ever used for a song. Like that chill 90s type of production you'd find on like a YouTube 90s rap playlist or something. Like, it's just such a good open, and one of Eminem's best ever opening tracks actually. It really makes you like want to listen to the rest of the album, like just out of curiosity or something, or maybe just leave the opening track on repeat over and over because it's just that damn good. And Eminem himself also says that the opening track is the best track on the album. And it's also actually the most popular song on the album, and I'm actually also inclined to agree with Eminem that the opening track from this album is the best song. The rhyme scheme on this song is quite complex too. Like, Eminem still raps like crazy on this album, like he does on all of his albums actually. And it's not like his rapping was subpar on this album at all. He was still a massively talented rapper before Slim Shady era, and this album really, really does show it. Like, his braggadocious, almost battle rap-esque type of lyrics on the song also show a hint of Eminem's battle rap days, since that's where he started out rapping actually and making a name for himself. Like, he has this sort of lyrical content on the song 313 as well. There aren't too many guest appearances on this album, and naturally since this was released independently, but Proof from D12 is on this album, and he's on the WEGO interlude. It's Okay is also a standout track for me on this album just because of how unrecognizable M is on this lyrically, like I mentioned earlier. He's talking about wanting to be a family man and getting married, like stuff you'd probably never imagine him saying or talking about today in his music. Even besides that, like, I like the lyrics about, not moping and being depressed about whatever bad circumstance you find yourself in life, and to still approach life with optimism and to dream big. It's like a nice, pick me up type of song. And this attitude really does seem to have paid off for Eminem in the end, given the massive success of his career. Even this almost East Coast type, inner city type of beat is great that the song has. It sounds like something that Jay Dilla would have produced, and funny enough, Jay Dilla also does come from Detroit, just like Eminem. Tonite is one of Eminem's best attempts at a club record, and apparently the song used to get picked up by DJs and played in the clubs back in the day too. And I can see why, like that vocal sample, the drums, and just the overall vibe of the track, it just makes you want to like bust a move or something. And even Eminem's chorus, he's talking about, rocking the party people or something on the song. And I don't know, Eminem in a club banger probably does sound a little far-fetched to a lot of people, but hey guys, he does it on this album, and so I hope this makes you even more curious to check this album out. Eminem really talks about, women in his songs, and he has one here actually about a promiscuous woman with an STI that's kind of like a renowned hoe in his community. And him and a couple of other rappers share stories about it. Like, it kind of feels like, a bunch of homies sharing stories of their various sexual encounters with this chick. And thankfully, like, unlike Eminem's other songs about women, like, he doesn't kill this chick in the end, and yeah, great. But anyway, yeah, like the beat of the song, it has like this, like a Tribe Called Quest type of feel to it. And a Tribe Called Quest, like, personally has like some of my favorite production ever in rap music, so naturally the song's production really, really does it for me. Eminem also harkens back to his days in Detroit on the song Open Mic. He harkens back to hanging out in the hip hop shop and building up his rapping skills and doing battle raps, stuff that helped him build up his hip hop career back when he was in Detroit. And according to Mark Bass, who's a frequent collaborator with Eminem, this is actually one of the more popular songs on the album, and it actually used to get played a lot in shows. One of my favorite tracks on this album is definitely Never Too Far. And it's honestly one of the more endearing tracks on the album, honestly. Like, I just can't help but get a warm heart whenever I listen to the song. Like, just Eminem talking about living in poverty, spending his last time on like a bus ticket, spending his Christmases gambling, and trying to make money in almost any way he can. Like, it's just a song that makes me feel so bad for him, honestly, especially after the commercial failure of this album. Yeah, because listening to this album and knowing that, this album was a complete commercial failure, and Eminem just put everything he had into this album, because like this album like really was his last hope and everything, so it really did put him into a really intense depression and led to him considering suicide too. So like, yeah, listening to the song with the context of the fact that this album failed, it's really heart-wrenching for me. But this song isn't all doom and gloom actually. He also talks about some pretty uplifting and hopeful things on it. Like, he talks about dreaming of being rich and getting out of poverty, and just trying to come up with ways to get out of his misery and to make money. Like, the chorus also has this optimistic tone that was also on the song It's Okay, about brighter days ahead, and your hard work will eventually pay off. Like, this song really, really is heartwarming. And thankfully Eminem's story does have a happy ending, with him being the number one best-selling rapper of all time and everything. And also, when it comes to the beat, they sample an amazing Frank Beverly song for this, and it also helps to give this positive, optimistic feel to the song. Which also makes sense, since they did sample a funk song from this, so it gives us a really happy, joyful type of feel. Eminem also has a love song on this album too, actually, and like, yeah, money isn't the only thing he's after on this album. Like, love is too, apparently, and the song is called Searchin. And it honestly has like one of the best features on the album, actually, with the lady that does the chorus. Like, she gives this 90s R&B type of singing on the song that works out really well. And it's also actually pretty nice to hear a relationship song from Eminem that isn't about a toxic relationship. But that wouldn't last long, since, the final track is about a toxic relationship, so yeah. Some of the closing tracks like Backstabber and Jealousy Woes 2 don't really follow the positive theme of the album, instead talking about backstabbing friends, and actually a friend of Eminem's who apparently tried to sleep with his girlfriend, and jealousy in relationships. But they're a welcome addition and don't hurt the tracklist at all, actually. So yeah guys, I'd recommend this album for any long time Eminem fans. It is kind of mind-blowing just how different it is from the Eminem albums that followed this one. Or if you're just looking for good music, because this album is criminally underappreciated. So yeah guys, that's it for today. I hope I put you all on, and peace out.